18 of Weeds, the 13th of May 2007. Not WeDS, Weeds. I'm Ben.
I'm Manny.
I'm Tom.
And I'm back.
And whether you're at home, at school, at work, or dying to hear your favourite newsreader once again, this is the best Nintendo podcast for news, reviews, and discussion delivered straight to your hard drive. Here's James with this week's top Nintendo news stories.
This week, DS dominates European charts, Nintendo fills Japanese charts, Mario Party 8 dated, and Miyamoto could make Halo. Titles for the Nintendo DS are storming the charts throughout Europe, with Pokemon Ranger continuing to hold on to the top spot in Italy and Spain a month after its release and reaching third place in Germany. In Spain, 6 of the top 10 best-selling games on all formats are for DS, including Hotel Dusk, Brain Training and New Super Mario Bros. Back in March, Pokemon Ranger debuted at the top of the British All Formats chart and is the first number 1 title for Nintendo since Pokemon Ruby, released on the GBA 4 years ago. The Japanese All Formats chart saw the top 16 best-selling games all exclusive to Nintendo's consoles. The chart was topped by the DS-exclusive Final Fantasy XII Revan and Wings, and featured 5 Wii titles in the top 10, including Big Brain Academy and One Piece Unlimited Adventure. The most successful non-Nintendo title in the chart was the PSP Anniversary Edition of the original Final Fantasy, which came in at number 17. No PlayStation 3 games were in the top 30. Nintendo of Europe has confirmed that the PAL version of Mario Party 8 will appear on shelves on the 22nd of June. Following the previous formula of the Party franchise, the game will be based around a virtual board game with quick mini-games breaking up each round. Hopes are high for the 8th iteration of this increasingly repetitive franchise, as the motion-sensitive controls should breathe new life into the mini-games. And finally, during a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Shigeru Miyamoto discussed his motivation behind game design, stating that he could potentially make games like Halo. He said, "I could make Halo. It's not that I couldn't design that game. It's just that I choose not to. One thing about my game design is that I never try to look for what people want and then try to make that game design. I always try to create new experiences that are fun to play." And that's the news for episode 18. Back to the show.
Okay, thanks for that, James. Glad you're back.
Oh, it's good to be back. I cannot tell you how much I've missed this.
I don't know, it just feels like today's going to be a cracking episode, and, you know, all those shabby episodes that we've been putting out are gone now that you're back. It's brilliant.
I hope so.
We love you, James.
It's the rebirth of Weeds.
Indeed, another reincarnation. So who have we got here today? We've got Manny, obviously. Manny the man. Hello, Manny.
Hello.
Geeky Tom. Hello, Tom.
Yeah, from my geeky corner.
Indeed.
Sounding rather subdued.
Geeky man.
And Journo James, who we've already talked about, obviously. So yeah, announcements. First of all, if we actually have any of our long-time listeners left, this is for them. I apologise for my outburst on episode 17 even. And you can all feel free to hate me, but it wasn't meant to be offensive to anyone. It was a simple bit of light humour, yeah. That was interpreted in the wrong way.
Northern humour.
So, if you're still listening, Toz and Nippon in particular, don't worry, because now James is back, the shows are destined to become good again, which is brilliant.
Yes, my boot is firmly up Ben's bottom.
Yeah,
I refrain from saying arse there, but...
that sounded wrong.
We won't get into this, please.
Okay.
We've already had this discussion before. And in case you didn't notice, we've got some new intro music. The Robotobots have allowed us to use their awesome Wii mixes on the show in exchange for a mention each week. So, hope you like the new music. Give us feedback via email and on the forums. So, you can do that weedspodcast@gmail.com to email us, and www.weedsforum.com for the forums. And visit www.myspace.com/It's the Wii Mix to check out the awesome remixes that the Robotobots have done there. So thanks guys for that. So yeah, we're gonna this isn't a new section as such. It's more of a
An
reincarnation.
An expansion of an existing section.
Yeah, indeed. And it is the news discussion where we discuss the news. Yeah. So we're just basically going to talk about some of the news stories that James has done, and then hopefully it'll make the show a bit more, interesting. So first of all, the DS dominates European charts. Well, the DS is still selling the best, and I don't find this surprising at all. What do you guys think about this?
It's not surprising that the DS is still selling the best because it is an absolute worldwide phenomenon. What surprised me is that Nintendo hasn't had a number 1 in the all formats chart since Pokemon Ruby. It was like 4 years ago and we haven't had a Nintendo number 1. It's really quite depressing. But hopefully, the tide will change with Wii, hopefully. But
well, all those licensed games.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna say,
God of War 2 just came out, right? And for a week it was top, and then Spider-Man knocked it off a far inferior game.
Yeah. To be fair, being at the top of the chart does not necessarily mean you're a good game.
No.
Pokemon Ranger actually knocked off TMNT, the new Teenage Mutant Hero Turtle game. Ninja Turtles, Hero Turtles, who cares? And, that's not exactly a brilliant game, but it was the best-selling one. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, my friend asked me yesterday if anyone was selling their DS so he could play the new Pokemon Diamond Pearl, when it comes out over here, because he's dying to play that.
I think Pokemon is about to start the craze up again. I can't remember which part. I think I was listening to another podcast. I think it was one of yours, and they were saying that every time a new Pokemon game comes out, people say, well, surely Pokemon the fad's over, and yet everyone still goes mad for it.
Right. What the thing is, it's right. Pokemon the games are still brilliant. It's just all these. The cartoons and the merchandise and everything. It's just that's what makes people sort of turn their nose up at it, because it's just way too over.
And because they want to look cool.
I reckon this is an opportunity. Like Nintendo could easily bring back all that merchandise and stuff again to capture a new audience.
Oh, they will.
10 years.
They will.
Like the first Pokemon came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They will. As soon as Diamond and Pearl are out, we're bound to have the old toy Pokedexes that use a little calculator screen to catch the Pokemon with little mini games.
Yeah, the little LCD.
So you get all the little kids running around with a Pokedex. Oh look, a bug! Let me check it in my Pokedex.
Yeah.
I'd love if they had a real Pokedex. That would be so cool.
What do you mean by a real Pokedex?
Well, a real working one, so it scans whatever you're pointing at. This is a dog. It eats pedigree chum.
All right. That would be quite cool.
But don't you think there's a danger of Nintendo saturating the market of Pokemon games? There's quite a lot on the DS, isn't there?
Yeah.
But but this is the first proper Pokemon game. That's like.
But if you bought all the other 3 before this, it's like, oh god, I have to fork out. I know it's the main game, but
I'm going to say the biggest criticism, yes, Diamond and Pearl are going to be the proper hardcore games, but the biggest criticism of the traditional Pokemon games is that they do not change. In the last 10 years, they have not changed, and it's only a moment of time before people stop buying the same game over and over again.
If I'm being honest, Pokemon has not kept the hook in me. I have lost interest in it. I've just beat the 3rd gym, and it's just. But
then you've probably bought each of the Pokemon games that have come out, so you've probably had. See, whereas I bought Red, and I haven't played it. I haven't played that in about 5-6 years. I bought Fire Red the other week just to build up some pieces, so I'm still quite hooked on Pokemon because I haven't played it to death.
It's the same with me.
I think.
I haven't played
it's too much of a good thing and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought, Tom, you and Ben were getting bored of it.
It wasn't so much me getting bored; it was me not having enough time, at the moment.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because I'm saying with James, I haven't played it for ages, and I'm hooked. But speaking of what Ben said about his mate asking if anyone's selling a DS Lite, my mate wanted a DS Lite and Pokemon off me for a PS3 and 4 games.
Money, whoa. Yeah, why didn't you actually do the trade permanently and then sell the PS3 the 4 games and...
No, he didn't want to do the trade.
Oh, right, I see,
He just wanted to check out Pokemon and play it and give me a PS3. And he warned me I'm going to be bored of the PS3 in about half an hour. And I was. And I really want my DS back, but I'm going to let him carry on playing Pokemon, because you can't just let someone play Pokemon for 2 days.
Second news article, better move on. Nintendo fills Japanese charts. Well, this is to be expected, isn't it? again,
I actually find this really interesting because it's amazing how different the two markets are, as in the Western market and the Eastern market. Because over here, Nintendo is very much the third pillar of gaming, because you've got PlayStation versus Microsoft. Obviously that's changing now that the Wii's out and the PlayStation 3 is not faring as well. But in the last generation it's been PlayStation 3 versus Xbox, and Nintendo's been the third pillar. Over there, right, Nintendo rules. It doesn't, Nintendo is leading the Japanese market, by far.
No,
and then, exactly, 16 places in the top, 16 consecutive places in the top 30 of DS and Wii titles. That's incredible. You'd never get that over here. You would never, ever get that over here. Even if it was like Xbox or PlayStation, the Western market is probably actually more diverse in that, it's more balanced between who's got an Xbox, who's got a PlayStation. Whereas over in Japan, it's all Nintendo. I just found that amazing.
I think over there it's more significant when a Nintendo title isn't number one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As a sort of just related to the last two topics we've been talking about, did you see that Shigeru Miyamoto said something recently about how Twilight Princess wasn't selling as well as expected in Japan, and that it was perhaps more geared to a Western market?
Yeah.
And that surprised me, because I thought it had been selling quite well actually, although perhaps they just expected to be the top selling.
I don't know, that is surprising, but then Zelda is becoming a very cinematic franchise, and cinematic franchises are traditionally a very Western thing.
Yeah.
And the only Japanese franchise that really goes down well over there is things like Final Fantasy. Metal Gear Solid is by far and away the most cinematic game you've got. 40-minute cutscenes and all that. And
has no
I would probably say that's more of a Western style game than an Eastern one.
Yes.
I think it's really interesting the differences between the two hemispheres.
And the way you can't make it's difficult to find a game that can be top on both. Like the Japanese are all about Nintendo, like we've said, and whereas
the Japanese are into really random, bizarre things like Cooking Mama and mini games and dating games and train games where you have to stop the train exactly at the right place on the platform. Whereas we Westerners like to kill things and blow up things and race fast cars and so forth.
Yeah. Well, Mario Party 8 has been dated.
Yes.
I'm not really interested in this bit. Yeah, I know you are, Tom. So.
It's been pushed back so many times, and then it disappeared off the release charts for quarter 2, and I was thinking, oh, we're never going to get this game. Then yesterday, out of the blue, I went on Nintendo Europe to get my 5 points a day, and there it was. I was just blown aback.
I actually wrote the preview for this, at In Stock magazine back in February, and it was meant to be out mid-March.
I know.
So I've been waiting for that, and because I wrote up the feature for it, I've been really looking forward to it. Because I had the original Mario Party. I think I'm trying to work out if I've still got the original Mario Party or whether or not I've traded in, but I can't seem to find it. But I had the original Mario Party, and it was so much fun. It was the first game that my whole family would sit down and play, and my dad found it absolutely hilarious, just like the little characters. But of course, like the old stick rotating mini games knackered my N64 controllers.
Oh yeah, you get all the white stuff on them.
Yeah, I didn't bother getting 2 or 3. When the GameCube came out, I borrowed 4, but it was so damn boring. I didn't bother. So I'm really hoping that the motion sensitive, makes it fun again.
They really went downhill after Mario Party 2, which I played Mario Party 1 and Mario Party 2. I've got to say, I think number 2 is the best. It's just so fun. I can still play on it with my mates these days. Although it's more of a cult classic game of legends, but it's definitely it's nothing like WarioWare. WarioWare on the Wii, to be frank, is a bit of disappointment. But this game is going to be amazing, and just with all the controls and the graphics, they look amazing too. And I'm not one for graphics, but they definitely
it should be very promising. I mean, by this stage, Mario Party is something of a joke in the games journalism industry, in that each one is appalling, and there's like one every single year, and it's exactly the same. So this could be the one that really gives life back to the franchise.
Yeah.
So
if anything, for sure, it's going to sell bucket loads in Japan. Easily 1 million sell.
Yeah, again, it goes back to the differences between East and West. They probably fare better over in Japan than they do over here.
Okay. Miyamoto could make Halo if he wanted to. I don't know. What do you think of this?
I really do respect him for this. I really do, because he's basically saying, yeah, alright, games like Halo sell like hotcakes, but I don't care. I want to make what I want to make.
He's still sold more.
Yeah, exactly. It shows that he's looking to what can interest people that's new, rather than recycling old formulas. He wants to find new ones. The only thing I would say is, has he not considered, if he really could make a game like Halo, has he not considered doing so to earn a little money for his other projects?
It's not a sellout. I don't think he would do that.
And also, I mean, wasn't Metroid Prime Hunters sort of, a bit like Halo? And
Metroid has become very Halo-fied, and that's my own term there, Halo-fied, and I don't like that. The Halo-fication is horrible, because the beauty of Metroid Prime, and I've gone on about this at length, is that you're exploring. It's an adventure rather than a shooter, and Hunters apparently is not much of an adventure. It's more of a shooter.
Hunters is horrible. I mean,
that's right.
Maybe if the controls were a little bit better, but that's just. Oh God, no.
Yeah.
I mean, having played the Metroid Prime on the GameCube, I can see what you're talking about. Like, it is it's just like the 2D ones, but in 3D.
It is, exactly.
Whereas these Metroid Prime 3, just from the trailers we've seen, seems more of a shooter than a.
It does. But then the argument would be that they've done that for the trailers to keep people's interest. If you showed a trailer, I don't know, 2 minutes of someone walking down a corridor, different corridors and very nice looking corridors, but nonetheless just walking down a corridor, it wouldn't catch people's interest. If you show intense battles, then you're going to be more interested.
Yeah.
So it may be, and again, it's appealing to the Western audience, isn't it?
That's probably
the thing is, they're going to look at how well the DS Metroid did, and then they're going to try and emulate that on the Wii for because they can't make they've tried to make the multiplayer game with targeting, didn't they, in Metroid Prime 2, and it didn't work. So they're going to try and make it like a first-person shooter. Hopefully, the single player won't be like that.
Let's not forget, going back to the whole East versus West thing, and I think this is going to be something of a theme throughout the episode now, that the original Metroids were programmed in-house at Nintendo, which is in Japan, but the new ones, the GameCube ones, the 3D ones, have been programmed in America in Retro Studios. So you've got
that's still
development houses completely around the world, so they're going to have completely different attitudes around them as they program it.
But isn't Retro Studios? It's like a second party company. It's like
it is, but it's still in America.
Yeah.
So
Texas.
the testers, is it in Texas? All right.
Yeah.
So the testers who will test out Metroid Prime will be Americans rather than the Japanese people who tested out the original Metroids. That's my understanding of it, anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's like before they had a Japanese take on it, more Japanese centric, and now it's like going Western, isn't it?
Well, indeed. Because the Western market is becoming bigger.
It is much bigger,
and unfortunately for the Japanese, that means their wants and needs aren't as catered for as they were before.
Yeah.
A final story. It wasn't mentioned in the news because James has already recorded the news beforehand. But a new Final Fantasy Wii game has been announced because they're having this Final Fantasy Square Enix party thing, I think, in Japan at the moment, and it's called Chocobo Mysterious Dungeon. I mean, right, we get this is our exclusive Wii title, and to me this just sounds like the Pokemon Mysterious Dungeon game, whereas the PS3 is getting Final Fantasy 13, Xbox is probably going to get that eventually as well, and we get this stupid, I'm guessing, full of childish chocobos.
You say about Final Fantasy 13 coming to Xbox, all that Square have said is that it will be coming to other formats. It's not specified Microsoft, so it could well still come to Wii or DS. I mean, we've got Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings is coming to DS, and that's completely exclusive, and it's a side-off. So we may well get 13 on DS.
Alright then, but...
And Square have actually really taken to the DS recently.
But yeah, okay.
What they're going to do is they're going to make Final Fantasy 13, but they're going to make loads of games, but on different formats, but with different experiences on each one.
But this Chocobo Mysterious Dungeon, my understanding is that there was a game developed called Mystery Dungeon, which was exactly like it sounded.
In Japan, there's been, I think I read on a forum somewhere, there's been loads of Mysterious Dungeon games, all about different things, on the GameCube, but only in Japan, obviously. And this is basically the Final Fantasy one for that.
I was going to say, as I was saying, like basically, it's a formula. The Mysterious Dungeon game is a formula where you've got a randomly generated dungeon, and then a quest in between, and they've just slapped other franchise onto it. Pokemon Mysterious Dungeon is nothing more than the Pokemon franchise slapped onto an existing game, and that's why that was crap, and that's why this is going to be rubbish.
Oh no, I wouldn't say it was crap. It was just a little bit.
I thought it was appalling. Absolutely, I gave it away. I didn't even trade it away. I didn't even sell it. I just gave it away to my mate.
Are we still getting Final Fantasy Crystal Bearers?
Yeah, but I mean, why are we getting that? Why aren't we getting? I mean, personally, I don't like as much as the proper turn-based ones. I don't like these live-action ones. To me, they're not Final Fantasy. You know, they're just another spin-off. And why are we getting all these spin-offs? Why aren't we getting the proper?
Tell you why? It's because all the people that bought a PS2, they think the developers think they're going to buy a PS3. So you stay Final Fantasy like you've had it on PS2, so naturally you'd have it on PS3.
Okay, yeah.
The problem is with Wii that if you just port over an existing games like Final Fantasy 12, you get criticised for just making a port. Whereas if you create a brand new game, you get criticised for not bringing over the original. It has to be said, developers are either the user base for Wii is going to have to lighten up, or developers are going to get really peed off with just losing no matter what they do.
Okay, well, no, fair enough. Crystal Chronicles was a good game, and it is awesome on multiplayer. Like co-op with your friends, and it's obviously going to be a lot easier because you just have to wirelessly link your DS to your Wii. And I'm not saying it's not going to be good, but I'd just like to see a proper turn-based Final Fantasy game sometime on the Wii.
Square are becoming much more friendly with Nintendo, and we've started seeing Square games on the old Virtual Console, so you never know.
I think it's a big thing that the Dragon Quest has come to DS, because that's a big kick in the pants for Sony.
Yeah, definitely.
It's finally coming back to Nintendo platforms.
Okay, so what games have we been playing this week? Well, I'll go first. I've not been playing much really. I've been so busy with I don't really know what I've been busy with, but I have. I've still had some time to fit in World of Warcraft though, level 42 now, and I've just ventured into the Badlands to clean out all the quests there. Gonna have a big session on it tonight, can't wait. And some Fear Combat. Been playing against Jason, one of our guest hosts, quite a bit this past week. Manny,
I didn't actually mention it. I thought the guest hosts were absolutely fantastic. I started worrying if you guys wanted me back.
Oh no, I think we're going to have to bring back like Jason and Stephen, because they were good.
We're definitely going to have to bring back Stephen, Jason and Dippy because of the lost episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
that was a very good episode, actually.
It was, exactly.
Dippy was PMing me and he said he absolutely loved it and he'd love to try it again.
That was what was so infuriating. Sorry to cut in, Jason.
Yes.
I mean, I would have rather lost
because it was such a good episode, and then when we re-recorded, the problem is when we re-record, we lose all of the ingenuity and the original content, and it's all recycled, and we forget bits that we said. So it really does affect the show when it mucks up.
Yeah. So Manny, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I've had a week off, so I've been playing loads of games. Too many to list, probably. I've been playing Eddie's Excite Truck, Devil May Cry 3, Street Fighter, Third Strike, Zelda. I played 7 hours of Zelda yesterday night.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it was crazy. But what I really want to talk about is when I played Spider-Man DS. Is it me, or can you not? Is it? It's really hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
It's like, I don't know, right, it's weird. I mean, I think they've tried to incorporate the touchscreen a bit too much. I mean, to me, web slinging would seem a lot more natural, just dragging a line on the touchscreen to sling the web, rather than just tap it,
This is what I think, Ben. Did you get past the first level?
No, I couldn't. It's too hard.
Okay, because I got past the first level.
Is it good after that? Is it?
And once you get past the first level, you go into the city.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know how in the normal levels it's like still 2D, but it just scrolls along.
Yeah.
Even though it's a 3D city.
So I thought that was really cheap.
It's still like that, but it seems really hollow and empty. There's no like people walking around or anything in the city. It's dead. It's just cars and stuff.
Really cheap. 2D on a 3D plane and all that rubbish.
I think the first level started off well, but then I don't think the rest of the game is going to be good. I'll play more and I'll let you know.
Or maybe like when we start like running into Venom and Sandman and all that. But yeah. Oh, Manny, could you just give us a quick lowdown on Elodies, because I think people are wanting a review of that.
low down LEDs. It controls really well. Like, it controls better than Red Steel, but it's a bit slower because you use an analog stick to move around. You use the Wiimote to point around, and there's loads. You know the game, right? You know you've got to shoot these LEDs and collect them and power up the world with energy.
Yeah.
But there's lots of like little power ups. Like there's a power up of like a round star ball thing, and you crush it. Like you grab it with A or B on the Wiimote, and you like shake your Wiimote up and down so that you smash it against the ground. And when it smashes it all this energy comes out of it. It's like a ball of energy, like a Hadouken. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you move it around, you grab it and you move it around, and it knocks out all the LEDs around, and the stars come out the head. So there'd be like an area where there's nothing, and then you just wave it around, and all these stars come up, so you know where they are.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's pretty cool. And there's like there's a power up which is like a homing missile. So you press on it, and then you just fire, and all these targets just appear everywhere, and all these LEDs, and collect them. I haven't played it that much, to be honest, but I'm on the third level. I think it's the third level. Yeah.
Well,
but it's a good game. I'll be playing it in the next few weeks.
I'll tell you what then, if you like, in a couple of weeks' time, you can give us a full review, and then because I don't know whether to get it or not, because you've said like would the like novelty sort of last? You know,
it really depends on what other games you're playing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd play it more than once, to be honest. And I don't know how fun it would be making the levels against each other. I mean, if I had someone else who was sending me levels, then I'm guessing it would be quite fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
but yeah, that's me. I've played a lot of games.
Okay. Tom, what have you been playing this week?
Honestly, nothing. In one word, nothing. No time.
Okay then. And James, what have you been playing?
I've gone absolutely mad this week because I handed in my uni work on Tuesday and I just sat down playing games all day. It's mainly been Spider-Man 3 for the Wii. And I know
you got that?
Oh yes, I've got it on
Talk to us
Tuesday.
about it.
Right. The graphics, yes. The graphics are, when you're just watching it, appalling. Certainly if you're high up, the city's barren, featureless and flat. But it's just fun to play. It's good fun. The swinging, once you get the hang of it, is great fun. The combat, at the start, is really horrible because it didn't really explain what you got to do. But once you've mastered a few of the moves, it's much more interesting than the old Spider-Man 2 combat system where you was literally just mashing buttons and beating up thugs. Now you're actually, and some of the moves are really good. And, most of the game takes place either close quarters down on the street level where the game looks really nice, or inside, like in the sewers or in warehouses or such, where you're beating up like supervillains. And again, it looks good. It's one of those games where, and I know this sounds like a fanboy thing, but the gameplay really does take away from the graphics. And I'm not saying that it was.
Don't you mean the graphics take away from the gameplay? Or?
No, I'm saying the gameplay takes away from the graphics. The graphics are bad. If you was watching
the gameplay shines through.
But the gameplay shines through, so I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I want to ask you something, because I saw a video and it looked like it had a bit of like PSP syndrome, where like you go on the ground, like someone's saying, "Oh, I need to my balloon's up in the sky," or whatever. I'm not saying that's in the game, but
yeah,
my balloon's in the sky, and then it loads. Right? There's a bit of a loading time, and then you go get the balloon, then you come back, then there's another loading.
Yes.
Time.
There is a lot of loading, and that can break up the flow of the thing. Rather than
when it loads, the music stops.
Yeah,
well.
rather than random crimes, you'll get a little message saying up City Alert, and you press minus to accept it, and then you've got a mission, and it will load up the mission, and then when you've completed it, it will load up the game where you were. And the trouble is, you can continue playing while it's loading, and then it will fade out, and you'll find yourself on the floor or in the corner or something, and that can really break up the gameplay. It's ironic that you mentioned the balloons, because when I was at the magazine, I was doing the transcribing. Like the editor went to a presentation of Spider-Man 3, and someone asked about, are we going to have to do balloons again? And the bloke said, "No, I promise you will not have to do anything. We've listened to our feedback. You will not have to deliver pizzas or catch balloons or anything like that." And yet some of the missions involve delivering delicious fruit pies, and it actually says delicious fruit pies.
No, wait, isn't it one where this guy's like, "I need to get my guitars" or something?
Oh no, I haven't seen that. I haven't got that. I haven't got to that one. But deliver my delicious fruit pies. And it's this Indian bloke voice, like it's an Indian voice, on a white model, like the model of the character is blatantly a white man.
God.
But, you need to deliver this delicious fruit pies or I will lose my job. Well, if you could deliver them yourself, you would have your job, you absolute pillock. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, when you go, it's really funny how you get the Indian voice on a completely white man. You know, you pick up a white man from the building and go, what to me are you doing? Put me down! It's rather wrong.
It sounds awesome.
It's just good fun. It's so much fun. Other than that, I've been playing Pokemon Fire Red, and I was actually beating our very own dyslexic Minder at Mario Kart this morning. So I found out how to change my router to WEP, and it means I can play online on my DS, but it does mean I can't use my laptop. But it's easy enough to switch back. So yeah, I beat Minder. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. So we've all had fun apart from Tom this week.
Can we
who's not played anything.
Can we put one thing in before we move on? Just I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
go for it.
discussion because they've had a lack of in the last couple of episodes. Okay, let's just very quickly. I got Onom. It came out today for those who live in the UK, and it says that in the US in March they sold 259,000 Wiis. Now
That's pretty good.
that's good, but
Right.
here's my point. There aren't that many in the UK, in Europe, in the last 2 months that have been shipped.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo is giving enough to Europe, and what do you guys think? They're still sold
I
out
think that
everywhere.
I think it's what I said. I even said this before, that I think Nintendo were surprised at how successful the Wii has been, and they didn't make enough in the first place.
And rightly so. I mean, everyone was absolutely slating it beforehand. I mean, they released it. They revealed information about it as very late as they possibly could. When they revealed that it was going to be motion sensitive and it was going to be done by remote, everyone was like, "Oh, that's interesting." As soon as they said it's called Wii, that was it. Everyone was laughing. And think about it. That was only about 6 to 9 months before the console's
yeah,
released.
it was about a year ago this month.
E3, they didn't exactly win E3. I think. I mean, yes, everyone it went down reasonably well, but it wasn't world-changingly good. A lot of third-party publishers wouldn't get onto the Wii development-wise until very late in the game. So yeah, I'm not surprised that Nintendo didn't think that this wasn't going to sell well. Now that it is, we should see things change. But I'm not surprised that they didn't think this was going to go well. Everyone was taking the mick. So.
Okay, so on to our main discussion. We're going to be talking about the future of the Zelda titles. Miyamoto stated that Twilight Princess was the last Zelda title in the form that we know it as at the moment, and Onuma suggested that Zelda could have been a first-person game. Could have been. We're going to discuss where we think the Zelda franchise is going to be headed in the future in this discussion. So, first of all, the last in its current form, does this mean that the next Zelda game will be completely different, or will merely stray from the standardised formula, like assigning weapons to buttons, etc., from Link to the Past?
They can't completely change it, because they did that with Adventure of Link, and it didn't go down extremely well.
Yeah, I think with a franchise as long running as this, and an established, good formula, they can't make it too drastic a change simply because it won't go down well. Like Manny says, Adventure of Link really didn't go down well, and like the Wind Waker, even just changing the visual style, people were very divided about the subject.
But
even Majora's Mask, people were just turned off by it. I know, but a lot of people at the time.
Having said that, in hindsight, things are better. Majora's Mask, many people reckon is better than Ocarina of Time now. Majora's Mask, people think is the better game because it was more emotional. There was more to do. Like things changed every day. It was more intricate. So I think in hindsight, things do look better.
Can I point out one thing? But I said before the show, we need to reiterate for the fans. This was said before the Wii was announced, the way the Wii would be controlled, and it was announced when Zelda was a GameCube title. So it could be, you could interpret them by saying, what's the exact quote? It will be in entirely
the last Zelda title
in the current
its
form.
current form.
Yeah, in the current form. You could take that to mean controlled with a conventional controller.
I don't think it's that. I think
it could mean that, but then they would have said that about like all their other games, like Mario and Pokemon, this is the last time you'll control Mario, Pokemon in this current form. What they mean is next time round it will be touchscreen.
I don't know. In a way, it upsets me because something that's so perfect.
Yeah, Tom, you just want it.
In the way, something
you
that's
just
so,
not want it to
it's
change.
so perfect, but I know there are improvements.
See, but I think
it's such a good
this
format,
could do it.
They could really bugger it out. Is what I'm worried about.
I think if they get this right, they could do this a world of good. Because if you look at Metroid
I was about to say that, Metroid.
Exactly, it was originally a side-on 2D, and now it became a first-person, and it works so well in first-person, and no one could possibly have predicted that. I remember, a lot of people were very sceptical about it becoming a first-person adventure. Right, I almost said shooter, first-person adventure, and it works so much better now. And I can't imagine it being any different. I can't imagine them sending it back to 2D. If they did like a new Super Mario Brothers style Metroid on DS, I don't think that would fare as well as a sequel to Hunters.
I think also it's like if you look at Final Fantasy, the latest one, 12, is apparently very different to the last few.
Yeah, but you see, people did. Well, I didn't like that, and my friends didn't like FF12 as much as the other ones because this whole it plays a bit like WoW in the fact that you walk up to an enemy, you select your attack, and watch your character attack, and
it's a gambit system, yeah.
Yeah, it just to me just didn't play as well.
It seemed like WoW, but without the online, without other people being the online characters,
exactly,
just the AI controlling it and you suggesting what they do in situations.
That's right, yeah. First person, I mean, does this mean that if it was to happen, would Zelda become more like Oblivion in the fact that it's
I have to say, I think that would work. I mean, Anuma suggested that Twilight Princess was going to be developed in first person and to accommodate for things like aiming your bow and slashing your sword, like the Elder Scrolls style. I honestly think that would work. Oblivion and Morrowind have proven that first-person games can work. Thief 2, way back from the mid-90s, and I know I keep on going on about this game. If you haven't played it, play it now, buy it now. It's in the budget section, so go buy it. But fantasy can work in first person, whether it's a sword or bow and arrow. I think Zelda would work very well.
I don't know, because it's in a way it's Zelda. It's big. It's the biggest. It's the best. It's the best known. And it's. I agree with Manny with Adventure of Link. Is it called the second one? I played all of the Zeldas. Yeah. I hate that one. I don't know why, but the minute I started playing it, I just hated it. It's awful.
The Zelda franchise owes a lot more. I can't remember who. Someone actually said this on another site, so I won't take credit for this. But Zelda, the Zelda franchise as we know it now owes a lot more to Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, than it does to the original Legend of Zelda. You've got towns, you've got a number of the items, you've got magic, you've got the ability to improve your abilities. There's a lot of things that came from that second game that didn't, that weren't in the first one that are still with us today.
You've got to ask: do you break what isn't? You don't. Sorry, I've forgotten the phrase. Don't mend what isn't. No, don't fix what ain't broke. Sorry. And to be honest, is there really that much broken with Zelda?
No, but there's the trouble of repetition, isn't there? And it has to be said, a number of Nintendo franchises are facing this simply because they've been around so long. Mario, you're always saving the princess by jumping on blocks. Zelda, you're always saving another princess by, defeating bosses. Pokemon, you're always wandering around the same place, doing gyms, beating Pokemon. These formulas have been around for 20 years, and sometimes more than 20. And it's getting to the stage where we need to start rethinking about how we play games and what we want from a game. Otherwise, the games industry is just going to, grind to a halt and just be stuck in the same loop.
The reason it's going to change is this whole Japan not liking Zelda anymore.
Exactly. I mean, Shigzy saying that TP is not doing brilliantly over there. That's probably provoked. Zelda started out as a very Japanese franchise. It was a very Japanese thing, and like we said earlier, it's become a bit more Western.
Actually, when Miyamoto first showed Zelda to a group of individuals, a small group, a focus group, they didn't like it at all, and Nintendo were going to not release it, but Miyamoto said no, we're going to release it. Thankfully he was right that people would warm to it and people liked it.
Yeah.
Because the focus group hated it. He said it in that, when you did the history of Zelda.
Yeah, but how can they hate it? Because it's just Ocarina of Time but updated.
No, I think they're talking about the original Legend of Zelda.
Talking about the original Legend of Zelda, the first ever one.
I see, okay.
Yeah. I think the trouble is, also, because it's been around so long, if they did do a dramatic change like we're discussing, it won't go down as well. I mean, the beauty of Metroid going from 2D to first person is that it never appeared in 3D before. Apart from playing as Samus on Smash Brothers, Metroid had never been in 3D. So you were quite willing, you were quite able to do whatever you wanted with it, because it was going to be completely new. Because we now know that 3D Zeldas work, while it would work as well in a first person, because we're used to it being in the third person, it might get a mixed reception. I personally think it would be fantastic. It'd be like Metroid, because Metroid is essentially dungeons and an overworld. Metroid Prime, you've got the Talon overworld and the Magmor caverns to go between the different dungeons, and then you've got Kozo Ruins, Fendrina Rifts, and the Phazon Mines as your dungeons. The puzzles work, the boss battles work, it all works in first person, and Zelda would work, and it would look incredible. Because as a first person game, you could, because you haven't got to worry about character model, the person's character model, and a lot of animation and effort goes into animating the character model. Because you're just doing it from first person, you can focus more on the environments and the enemies, and it would look gorgeous.
With a game like Zelda, I think it's impossible to make it first person without changing the whole game entirely.
I agree with
that. Because I played, I told you, I played 7.5 hours of Zelda Link to the Past the other day, and I saw it in my sleep, which I had for 3.5 hours. But, when I looked at the game, I thought of it in 3D, imagined it in 3D, and it just wouldn't have worked. Link to the Past in 3D wouldn't have worked.
I think no.
You get what I mean?
I think it would.
Because if you look at the say one part of the map, and it's like a maze, right? And it's like a low wall. When we see it from the top, right? So we can navigate the maze. But if that was a wall in front of you, it would just annoy you. There's so many of them in Link to the Past, and they had to change the game when it made it Ocarina of Time. But I do want a change, because now I've played more of Link to the Past. I've seen that Ocarina of Time is merely Link to the Past in 3D, but changed a little bit. I never saw that before. I always said that Link to the Past was the main Zelda and Ocarina of Time was the copy of it, but now I can see, I saw a water temple, and I couldn't believe that they had, water temple where you change the level of the water. It was just like Ocarina of Time. I was so gobsmacked.
But when you're first branching into 3D, they were going to always stick to what they know.
Yeah, definitely. For such a big franchise.
And it's because they did it so well. I think a large part of the secret of success of Ocarina of Time is that it was still Zelda, despite being completely different, in terms of visual and in terms of the way it feels to play. It was completely different. If you knocked me out halfway through playing Link to the Past and then made me play Ocarina of Time and Link wasn't wearing green, then I would think it was a completely different game.
Yeah.
Right? But it felt Zelda. It felt very much like Zelda.
What about style? Would you like a change in style again?
Well, perhaps.
I don't know. You say that you preferred Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time. They may well go back to 2D, because if you look at Four Swords Adventures on the Cube was 2D. It was very it was Link to the Past with Wind Waker visuals, like Wind Waker sprites. And I honestly think that Nintendo would want to emphasise the multiplayer aspect of the Zelda franchise. You've got Four Swords on the GBA re-release of Link to the Past, you've got Four Swords Adventures on the Cube, and now we've got a brand new multiplayer that's still on a 2D plane in Phantom Hourglass.
With the power of the Wii as well, you can make it look beautiful. Like the sprites could be, crisp and
exactly. And the Wii is all about family play. They may want to get Zelda to appeal to family players rather than just people sitting on their own playing as an elf.
I would definitely, on the talk of Phantom Hourglass and almost the Wind Waker, I definitely think if you look at the Wind Waker compared to the other Zelda games, it's all Zelda games are set in parallel universes. So you can't expect Link to be the same in each one. It's almost the same characters but in a different scenario with you can play with completely without a timeline for some of them, and you do need a timeline bit for some of them with the other tying in with the other games. But I definitely think there is much more scope for the Wind Waker style graphics, and it's funny that a style of graphics can change a whole series, but definitely there's a lot more scope for that sort of storyline. And the Wind Waker world, it would look very good on Wii, because the Wii does cartoon well. And no matter what you say, the Wind Waker was still a fantastic game, and I really enjoyed it. And
I love it.
It was, and I honestly think that would be great if they expanded that formula. I think I was saying to Manny, it's a shame they slapped the Zelda license on it, because I would love to have seen a new Nintendo franchise expand out of that Wind Waker engine. So pirates and ships.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Because anything now will be a spin-off.
Absolutely anything with that, because they could even do things like, oh wow, I'm getting on. Right, they could do an MMO, right? So you sail in between the islands. They could even do a game where you could download more islands from the Virtual Console and expand the sea as you go, and the game could keep getting bigger. That was such a good game, and it was such a completely different way of playing.
And it was just so fun to go on.
I honestly think that would... Exactly. I mean,
you're right. It didn't have to be Zelda, did it?
No, it didn't have to be Zelda. That would have been a fantastic way for Nintendo to come up with a new franchise.
But at the same time, it gave them almost a lifeline, because I didn't feel Twilight Princess was what I expected it to be, and it wasn't as, I don't know, for me at least, it wasn't. I hyped it up too much myself, but at the same time, I don't know if we can expect so much new stuff, and definitely Phantom Hourglass gave them a new not Phantom Hourglass, Wind Waker gave them a new lease of life, with a completely different audience, completely different graphics, completely different gameplay. It was all very, very different, but at the same time, it still had the things we wanted and we loved, and it worked very, very well. And I don't see a reason why they can't keep that world, or a slight variation to it. And not slight variation, but like Ocarina to Majora's Mask, they're doing that on the DS, however. But I don't see why they couldn't do perhaps alternate between the cartoon Zelda and the hardcore Zelda, the normal realistic graphics for the hardcore fans. But I think personally, the hardcore Zelda fans buy Wind Waker, buy Phantom Hourglass. I don't see why they wouldn't, because they may be very different, but they're still fantastic games. Ben?
Yeah.
You want to speak?
Well, my point was on the topic you've just bulldozed out of the way, but I was just saying the whole, you were saying about the MMO and the ships and the downloading islands and all that. Well, wouldn't that be cool if it was like an MMO, but then you had up to 8 people playing in one ship, so it could be me, Manny, Tom, James.
That would be fantastic.
It would be really
team
cool.
MMO.
Yeah, and we all have to do different things on the ship, and that could be like mini games. So if you're rowing, you have to use the Wiimote to row and to get to different ships, islands and stuff. And then if you get another ship, you can shoot at it, and then you go in a little band and go through the forest and fight stuff. And see, but you're just not going to do that. We just can't expect that kind of thing from Nintendo, because they're just not interested in doing the whole.
But they are more interested in bringing people to playing together. And I do honestly think, this may be mindless fanboy optimism talking here, but I do honestly think they're preparing something online, in terms of online. Zelda may be the franchise they choose to take online. It's a recognised franchise. We've proven that it can work 4 swords wise. Even if they took 4 swords online, because all the DS multiplayers, Mario Kart, Star Fox, they're all 4-player. Even if they took 4 swords online, so you meet up with random people and can beat dungeons together, I do think Zelda would work online. And it's the stuff of dreams. We've been talking ever since the invention of the internet. We've been talking about Zelda Online, but now I think we're in a time where we may well see it.
I think if they do it, they would ship it out to another.
My one concern with Zelda. Sorry, man. My one concern with Zelda Online is that what you see with Phantom Hourglass, this could be done on any game. Phantom Hourglass, it's not. In a way, it's like a standard formula with a Zelda spin. It's not something that could only be Zelda, if you know what I mean. If you look at it's something it's a bit like Pac-Man and Capture the Flag, the multiplayer mode. And although it's still Zelda, in a way it could be used on other things, and it's not original, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I was saying, Fire Emblem, look at Fire Emblem, look at the character art and the amount of different creatures and stuff they've got on that, they could easily make an MMO of that world. If you see the I don't really play Fire Emblem. Do you guys play Fire Emblem?
No, I haven't.
Well, I've played a few. I absolutely love that franchise. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, if you see the cutscenes and that, aren't they like epic craziness?
It's more of a like. It's a single player. It's like a novel, and you do the fights in between. The story really is that engrossing. It's not. Maybe the characters and the worlds could be made into an MMO, but the actual gameplay and it is more of a single player. Enjoy the storyline sort of thing. From what I've played of it.
But at the moment, I think Fire Emblem's just like it's a fan service now. It's not open to other people to play because of the mere fact that when your people in your party die, they die forever.
See,
look.
That puts a lot of people off that game.
Listen, some games just don't need to be played by other people. We seem to be getting into this habit of everyone needs to be playing games, and every game should have some form of multiplayer. But aren't some games just better on their own single player?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, Zelda is good.
But Fire Emblem is way too similar to Advance Wars.
Yeah, but Fire Emblem it's a lot more. It's not like Advance Wars, okay? Because for a start, you can't buy your troops, and you haven't got an endless supply of troops and all that. And it's a lot more tactical because if your character dies, like you say, they don't die. They just you're not able to use them ever again. And that you do get that sense of like, oh damn, she's dead, and now I can't use her again because she's gone. And it is quite an emotional game, and Advance Wars doesn't capture that, and it's not like that. But yeah.
See, how would we feel about a Zelda RTS game, a real-time strategy game based on the world of Zelda? Because you've got things like Halo Wars is coming out, so it can be done.
Really?
Yeah, they're making a
Have
Halo.
you heard of that?
Please tell me you've heard of Halo Wars. Directed by Peter Jackson, the director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Right, basically it's going to be an RTS spin-off of Halo. And that can be done. In terms of Zelda, in the lore, Lore, there is a
like wars,
there are wars. There's the imprisoning war of Ganondorf. Even in the world of Twilight Princess, you've got the underground movement in Telma's Bar who were fighting against.
But that would be really awesome because
even back in like Ocarina of Time, there was they were going on about there was a war between
Hyrule Field.
Yeah, there was a war. Wasn't
Ocarina of Time. I when James first mentioned this, I was just imagining, you're not Link. Perhaps Link's not even in the game, but I know that could be a very big decision. But if you were a general and you commanded your army, can you imagine fights on Hyrule Field? Huge hundreds of soldiers and and I hate this sort of game, but it sounds so good.
Gorons versus Zoras, Gerudos versus Hylians. Terrain advantages. Gorons would win in mountains. Zoras would win on near water. It would be very good.
Could even be different attacks like the fire and the
exactly
magic and stuff.
You've got plenty of scope for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I'm liking that. That's good. But I do think that ship thing, like a cooperative MMO.
That was one thing
awesome.
One thing I wanted to say about that was it was going to be a bit like it sounds stupid, but when you've got the whole Wind Waker scene with islands and a big sea in between them, it sounds a bit Second Life-ish.
Oh no!
Nothing like that.
It'd be all about the action, and stuff like that. And then say like Manny, you weren't online one time, you'd it make out you were asleep in the ship or something like that, so that it sort of kept the thing going.
That would be cool. To walk around the ship and find a sleeping Manny in a hammock.
Put Manny's hand hand in warm water as he sleeps.
It's funny that we're talking about this because a long time ago in the days of Nintendo Talk, I remember Ben trying to create an RPG with the Zelda characters. Do you remember? And I was helping you do like the hit points and stuff.
Oh no! It was like all the Nintendo characters, and
it started off Zelda there, didn't it?
Yeah, and then I lost it. My computer. That was awesome.
That was fun.
Everything's awesome. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood today. I'm sorry, fans. I shouldn't have had a go at you, and I sincerely apologise for my behaviour. So, moving on. Main discussion finished. Brilliant. Online section. Website of the week this week is www.ds-play.com. This is another website a bit like Nintendo Fi, where you can find people to play DS games with. There's chat rooms, forums, all kinds of good stuff. So go check it out at www.ds-play.com. Onto the forum section. Do we have a top poster for this week, or are we not bothering?
It has to be said, everyone's been really enthusiastic about all the posts.
Yeah, it's.
So
I personally think it's difficult to choose.
For once, let's be.
You're all the posters.
Everyone, you're all top posters.
Everyone is absolutely fantastic, and we're glad you're here. It has to be said, while I was doing my uni work, I did keep an eye on the forums. I didn't post because I didn't have the time to do so, but I did keep reading, and it was good to see that everyone was still, really getting into it. And the forums are now becoming almost as big as the podcast, so it's good to see everyone enjoying themselves.
And people join up, because look, the forums are awesome. They're like the community. They're like where you go. It's like you watch the show, you listen to the podcast, and then the forums are the after show party.
And we discuss the latest.
You go there to cool off.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm actually getting worried about my position, because half the stuff that I reported on in the news is already on the forums, and people were discussing it before we'd even recorded this.
Well,
and given that this won't be out until halfway through next week, everyone will know about it before the time they hear this.
But at the same time, not everyone comes on the forums, and they like to hear us discuss it as well.
Yeah, it's a bit off topic, but I tried to get the Weeds podcast on Wikipedia, and I wrote a whole page about us lot buyers and stuff, and about forum members, and when we started and blah blah blah, and they didn't put it up.
Well, how do you know?
Because they didn't put it up.
Doesn't it take a while? Don't they have to verify?
It's been 2 weeks, a week.
Oh god!
And my mate put something about him being good at games, and they put it on Wikipedia. I don't understand that. Anyway.
Well, yeah, we're just going to quickly discuss this topic before moving on. The topic of the week is how much time do you spend on your Wii? Well, I'm honestly going to say I haven't touched my Wii to play on properly in probably a month, 2 months. I go on it to do the everybody votes, but apart from that, I haven't touched my Wii in ages. What about you, Manny? How much time do you spend on your Wii?
I'm actually going to have a live update, so I'm going to just quickly get on my Wii and find out how much I played it recently.
Okay, while he's doing that, Tom?
I don't know. I play in bits. When I've got a mate round, we play, because everyone's like, oh, you've got a Wii, I want to play, and it's awesome to play multiplayer.
But you see, that's the thing. All my mates have been around now, and most of my mates have got their own Wii, so it's not
for me they haven't
anymore.
Though. Sure, some of my gaming mates, everyone's got different sets of mates. Some of my mates really love games, some don't, and the ones that don't they still like games, but they're not really hardcore and Nintendo fans and stuff, but they love coming and playing on it. But I don't know if it's got old, but I've been so busy recently, I haven't really had time. I'd love to play more Excite Track and SX Blur. Oh god, I haven't really even touched it since I bought it. I've played maybe an hour or two, and I feel awful about that, because more than anything it's a waste of money. But I think we're going to kick some more life into it when we get 14 days till online
Oh yeah,
countdown time.
Oh, I think that'll be cool when we're all playing Strikers. That should be good fun. Manny, have you got your?
Yeah, I've played for 9 hours 34 minutes in the last 2 days. But actually, I think it's because I finished like James said, because he finished his work, he started playing loads of games, and it's convenient. That,
it does depend on what you're doing, doesn't it?
So yeah.
James, how much time would you say you spend on your Wii on average?
On average, I do still play it. I mean, I've got in the habit of playing half an hour of Zelda every single day, just before I go to bed.
The problem with me is there's loads of games I want. Yeah. I just don't have the money to buy them, and therefore I've got no reason to play on my Wii because I haven't got any games worth playing.
I think it's a general consensus on the forum. I mean, I'm looking at the thread right now, and most of the people here say I don't play it as much as I should.
Well, no, that's stupid. People shouldn't feel obligated to play it if it's not worth playing. If there's nothing to play on, then why should you play it? I can't. If I buy a game, I'll play it once and then I'll get bored and I won't touch it again. I can't replay games. I'm just not that type.
For me, the main reason that I wouldn't be playing my Wii is because I'm on the internet chatting to you lot on the forums or checking out Nintendo news, because that's the only reason why I wouldn't be playing it.
I was thinking earlier, what about if time froze and you were the only person who could move? And I was just thinking, you'd have no one to talk to. But you'd have no one to talk to, right? Electricity would be down. Eventually, you'd run out of food. But right, assuming you still had food and water and basic living needs, wouldn't life be hell?
Yes.
You become oh god, and then it suddenly started again one day, and no one else noticed, obviously, and you were like 4 years later on. That would be terrible.
It's a tad random, but yes.
Like Cartman when he throws himself to try and get a wee.
Oh yeah,
That was awesome.
That's an episode. Okay, I think before James has to dash off, he's got a competition. The competition sort of thing. So take it away, James.
Yes, back in episode 14, we had we started a competition based on the Little Tortilla Boy parody of like general movie trailers by Pablo Francisco, who does he does a very good impression of like the guy who does the movie trailers. Action, romance, desire. And we asked you to come up with your own Nintendo ones. Now, you can either do this on the forums in the feedback section or via email, weedspodcast@gmail.com. What we're looking for is, because there was a lot of confusion because I didn't specify it, has to be said, what we're looking for is the funniest Nintendo trailer you can come up with. We want there to be a big build-up at the end for the heartbeat that... And we also want the no bit at the end. The prize is going to be a Wii Points card, so that's 2,000 Wii Points are up for grabs. And if you don't know what you like, if you haven't heard the Little Tortilla Boy, either download episode 14, go back and listen to it, or search YouTube for Little Tortilla Boy, and you'll see what. The
one other requirement is you need to register on the forum and post it there. You need to be
unless you email.
No, Tom. They can either enter via email
Give
or
them
on
an incentive to
forums.
sign up to the forums. This is Wii Points we're talking about.
Yes,
we've tried. We've tried.
Look, right. Maybe people would rather enter via email though, because then other people aren't going to read their thing and sort of steal their ideas and blah blah blah. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. But
for every day we don't get someone joining the forums, I'm going to kill a bunny.
There isn't really a limit to how many people, how many entries each person can make. But obviously, if if you do like thousands, we're not going to bother to read through them.
So
if we give them a 2-week deadline, so by
no, a month.
A month.
Make it a month.
Okay, a month. That sounds good.
So episode 22, we will announce the winner, and they will get their Wii Points card in the post sent to them, which is brilliant.
Absolutely.
Stuff. Okay, release dates. Oh, James, are you going to head off before I start these?
Yeah, I'm going to head off.
See you
Okay,
then.
Hang on a second. You're going to send the Wii Points card to them?
We can either do that or we can email them.
Why don't you just email them the number?
We can email them the number.
Yeah,
it's up to them how they want to receive it.
Yeah, because they might not want to give out their address.
Because they don't have an email address.
Right.
I'm sure everyone will, but okay.
Yeah.
So, see you, James.
See you guys.
Bye, Jonah. James.
Okay, release dates. Here we go. 18th of May for the Wii, Legend of the Dragon, and for the DS, Mindstorm and Pony Friends. I think these need updating a bit, but...
good.
On the 25th of May for the Wii, Impossible Mission and Mario Strikers Charge Football.
Yay!
Oh yes, can't wait for that.
Woohoo!
For the DS on the 25th of May, Custom Robo Arena, which is a good game. Final Fantasy Chocobo Tales, which is okay. Impossible Mission, Pirates of the Caribbean, SpongeBob and Friends, and The Settlers. People need to learn to make good games, not put out crap all the time. The 1st of June, for the DS, we have Disney's Herbie, Mega Man ZX, Meteos Disney Magic, and Wario Master of Disguise. And for the 8th of June, hold on a second, for the Wii, Mortal Kombat Armageddon. And for the DS, Power Shot Pinball Constructor, which sounds awesome. Okay. Virtual Console, I haven't got these prepared. Has someone else got them prepared? Virtual Console,
Virtual Console titles are...
Drum roll, Tom. Drum roll. Give a drum roll.
Drum roll, of course. Here we go. Wait, sorry. Let me just put my mic down so I can do it better. Wait, it's very slow, so the drum roll takes Okay, well I'll name the first two I can see. On the NES, Open Tournament Golf and Ninja Spirit. And I believe that's all for this week, because usually they say them all in the title, but my internet just won't load the page, so I can't...
Yeah, there's only two to see.
Oh, okay.
That is all of them, yeah.
Okay, well, that's all good then. Quite a good show this week, I think. A brilliant show. Lots of good discussion. I think it's like a beacon of light, a beacon of hope for the Weeds ship. We're not going to crash into that bloody iceberg.
I love this whole ship analogy.
We're going to carry on sailing. Yeah, well, I don't know if James brought it up. It's like
yeah, send us more ship analogies in. And
Or the SMS weeds.
Yeah, the SMS, short message service. It's HMS.
And we might even be an MMS.
Yeah.
I just realised I did something really bad.
So, oh dear. Okay, so community outlet, here we go. Remember to email us at weedspodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts about the show and the hosts, as well as any suggestions you think would make the show better. Also, could you please put fan mail or feedback in the subject box so we can then easily identify emails to be read out on the show. Also, be sure to check out our MySpace at www.myspace.com/theweedspodcast to add us and see what we're really like. The Frapper map can be located at www.weedspodcast.com. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page to locate the map, add your PIN, and help us grow our Frapper map. And finally, the forums are located at www.weedsforum.com. If you join, you'll get access to all the latest Weeds news, as well as episode previews, a chance to vote in the debate polls, and a great community just waiting to talk to you. So go ahead and join now, because the Weeds forums really are the best place to be. Brilliant stuff.
And we meant HMS Weeds, not SMS Weeds.
Yeah, I did say that. It's comedy, it's good fun. So, brilliant show, hope you enjoyed it. Leave us feedback on the forums, email us, add us on MySpace, send us money, we love money, and all that.
Yep.
So, from me, Ben.
Me, Manny.
And me, Tom.
See you, people.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so, a couple of weeks ago you may have heard that Tom was going to be editing the show instead of me because I'm a crap editor. Well, not crap editor, but basically I don't get the shows out on time and yeah, all that blah blah blah. So, anyway, I decided I'm going to continue doing the editing and get them out on time and all that. But the reason I was inspired to do the editing again is because I was in art yesterday in school and I was cutting this string for my project. And I looked at this string, and I suddenly envisioned Audacity, the editing program that we use. And so, I got the scissors, and I was cutting, and and then it suddenly dawned on me, I love editing, So I thought to myself, well, I may as well edit the show, and then Tom can be my backup editor, and he can edit the show if I'm not available to. So the reason I'm editing the show, basically, is because I was in art cutting string. That's the bottom line of it. So anyway, now we've got this brilliant song that has been sung by Stephen Robinson, who was on last week's show, and his friend. Sorry, his friend, I can't remember your name, but you'll obviously know who you are, so big up to you. Yeah. So it's called Pimp's Got the Wheeze in the Living Room. I'm going to play it now, so enjoy it. See you, people.
Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze. You know we pimps is guaranteed. Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze. You know we pimps is guaranteed. Picture me at an early age, in the days by the craze of Mario. Turn it off, mommy, no. Building my character, playing his characters. Shrooms, pipes, and plants, that's how I learned. You get your turn. Collecting them coins to get a better living. Cause money is power, I'll take what I ain't giving. Dropping shells on the ground, spitting nothing but fire. Scooping up bitches in matching attire. It's the weed, motherfucker, straight to the top. PS3 warranty, needed straight out the box. Straight up it sucks, when it dropped, it dropped. Extra year to develop and it's still no Xbox. Props to your publicist, the public loving this. Commercials for babies, games clips, not a glimpse. All for good reason, all for deceiving. Can't play the fucking system 5 seconds without freezing. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze. You know we pimps is guaranteed. Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. Only Pimp's got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze. You know we pimps is guaranteed. Pimp's got the wheeze, guaranteed. Them bitches be waiting in line for PS3s, but not me. I got enough ice. I don't need my video game system to freeze. Like the moron, please get off me. You cannot convince me that the PS3 is not a total obliteration, a piece of SHIT. There's no evidence to say it's not guilty. Have to do justify paying that kind of money for something that could lock up at any time. No matter if you're on the last level, last guy. When necessity says it's time, but I guess it's time. It may be cheaper to think they cheated. Now your Sony fanboys heated. It's not about what he did or she did, but about what Sony couldn't, and we did. And we did, yeah, we did. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze, you know we pimps is guaranteed. Pants got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze, you know we pimps is guaranteed. Pants got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze, you know we pimps is guaranteed. Pants got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. On the pants, got the wheeze in the living room. We got the room, we got the wheeze, you know we pimps is guaranteed.